You have a perfectly safe bedroom, locked door, closed windows, familiar smell, temperature controlled. The odds of anything hurting you tonight are statistically close to zero. And yet, at some point in the next few hours, something in the dark is going to make your heart rate spike. Maybe a sound you can't place, maybe a shadow that moves wrong, maybe absolutely nothing at all, just a feeling that something is there. You'll lie still. You'll listen harder than you've ever listened to anything in your life. And your body will do something your conscious mind never asked it to do. It will prepare to run. You're not broken, you're not anxious, you're not being dramatic. You're just running 300,000-year-old software in a world it was never designed for. And tonight, we're going to find out exactly why, and why you can't turn it off. Griff, here's what nobody tells you. Humans are the only large mammal on Earth that voluntarily sleeps in complete darkness. Every other animal, lions, elephants, wolves, even chimpanzees, they orient themselves before they sleep. They face exits. They position their bodies toward the most likely direction of threat. They stay partially alert. We pull the curtains, close our eyes, and surrender completely. Think about what that actually means. For 8 hours every night, you are blind, deaf to subtle sounds, physically slow, and completely unaware of your surroundings. In the animal kingdom, that's not sleep. That's an invitation. That should terrify you. It doesn't. And the reason why is one of the strangest stories in human evolution. For most of human history, night wasn't inconvenient, it was lethal. Your ancestors didn't fear the dark because they were superstitious or irrational. They feared it because everything that wanted to eat them could see in it, and they couldn't. Leopards, hyenas, cave lions, all of them have a structure called the tapetum lucidum, a reflective layer behind the retina that essentially doubles the amount of light available to the eye. In total darkness, a leopard sees 6 times better than you do. A hyena, arguably more. Your eyes have nothing equivalent. This wasn't a minor disadvantage. A 2021 study published in Nature Human Behavior analyzed predation evidence in fossilized bone records from early Homo sapiens sites across sub-Saharan Africa. The data showed that the majority of large cat attacks on early humans occurred during low light or nocturnal conditions. Not because predators were hungrier at night, because we were effectively blind. For hundreds of thousands of years, going to sleep meant accepting that you would not see what killed you. But here's what's fascinating. That fear wasn't random. It wasn't weakness. It was architecture. Over hundreds of thousands of years, something extraordinary happened inside the human brain. The individuals who survived weren't simply the strongest or the fastest. They were the ones whose nervous systems built a very specific kind of alarm. One sensitive enough to detect threats before they could be consciously identified. One that would rather fire 100 false alarms than miss a single real one. That alarm is still running inside you right now. It has never been updated. It has never been patched. Neuroscientists call it hypervigilance to threat. And it works nothing like you'd expect. When your brain detects potential danger in low-light conditions, an unusual sound, an unfamiliar shape at the edge of your vision, a door that isn't quite where you left it, it doesn't wait for you to consciously process the information. It activates your stress response first and hands you the analysis afterward. In 2005, psychologist Arne Oman at the Karolinska Institute ran a landmark series of experiments. He presented participants with rapid sequences of images, some neutral, some depicting threat-relevant stimuli like snakes, spiders, and dark enclosed spaces, and measured physiological stress responses at millisecond intervals. The results were striking. The brain was detecting and reacting to fear-relevant images in as little as 14 milliseconds. To put that in context, it takes approximately 200 milliseconds to consciously perceive something you're looking directly at. Your body was responding to threats before your mind knew they existed. That feeling you get when you're walking to your car at night and something feels wrong but you genuinely cannot explain why. You haven't seen anything, heard anything, there's no rational basis for it. That's not anxiety. That's not irrationality. That's a 300,000-year-old early warning system working exactly as designed. It was built to keep your ancestors alive in a world where the things that wanted to kill them were faster, stronger, and could see in the dark. The problem is, it was calibrated for that world, not this one. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Your threat detection system cannot distinguish between a leopard outside the cave and a stranger walking too close in a parking garage. It cannot distinguish between your campfire going out and your phone screen going dark. It cannot distinguish between the sound of a branch snapping and the sound of your floorboards settling. Both register as potential danger, both spike cortisol, both fragment sleep. Both leave you staring at your ceiling at 3 a.m. with your heart beating faster than a person lying still has any reason to justify. A 2019 study in the Journal of Experimental Psychology documented what researchers call the first night effect. When people sleep in an unfamiliar environment, a hotel room, a new apartment, even a friend's house, one hemisphere of the brain remains detectably more active than the other throughout the night, monitoring, scanning, waiting, even while the person is completely unconscious. Dolphins do the same thing, but deliberately. They evolved the ability to shut down one brain hemisphere at a time, so they can sleep while still surfacing to breathe. One eye stays open, one half stays watching. Your brain is running an involuntary, imperfect version of this every time you sleep somewhere new. And in modern life, where the somewhere familiar your brain requires is essentially impossible to maintain, many people are running it every single night. The reason modern humans experience insomnia at higher rates than any other species on Earth is not simply stress, it's a mismatch. We have built a world so radically different from the one our nervous systems were calibrated for that our brains genuinely cannot determine whether we are safe. Your ancestors' brain kept them alive by never fully relaxing in the dark. That same brain is now keeping you awake at 3 a.m. catastrophizing about a conversation you had 4 years ago. But here's the part nobody tells you, and this is where it gets interesting. The thing that actually solved the ancient darkness problem, the thing that finally gave your ancestors permission to sleep, wasn't technology. It wasn't better shelter. It wasn't even fire, though fire helped. It was a wolf. Long before humans had alarm systems, long before we had walls or locks or motion-activated lights, we had dogs. Or more precisely, we had their ancestors. The early domesticated wolves that, over thousands of years, chose to sleep at the edges of human camps. Wolves can hear sounds at distances 4 times greater than humans can. They can detect scent trails that are hours old, from directions your nose would never identify. And they have something we lost somewhere in our evolutionary past, the tapetum lucidum, the same structure that gives leopards their night vision. Wolves can see in the dark. Every night for tens of thousands of years, while your ancestors sat around a dying fire and drifted towards sleep, the wolves on the perimeter were awake, watching, listening for the specific sounds that meant something was coming. They were the alarm system, the first one that actually worked. And here's what's remarkable. The dogs sleeping at the foot of your bed right now, they are still doing it. They still orient toward doorways when they sleep. They still react to sounds well below your threshold of hearing. They still lift their heads in the dark at something you will never detect. You didn't just domesticate a predator. You outsourced the most ancient fear in human history to one, and it worked so well that you forgot you'd done it. Nesting. So the next time you reach for the light switch before you've even opened your eyes, the next time you wake at 3 a.m. with that quiet, shapeless feeling that something is wrong and you can't say what, remember this. That's not a malfunction, that's not a disorder. That's a message from 300,000 years of people who survived every predator, every night, every darkness long enough to eventually produce you. They were afraid of the dark because the dark was genuinely, measurably, statistically dangerous. You are afraid of the dark because your brain never received the update that it isn't anymore. And that raises a question worth sitting with. What else is your ancient brain telling you that you've been misreading as anxiety, as weakness, as failure, that is actually just old code running in a new world? That's what this channel is. Every week, one question, one answer from evolution. If your body has ever done something that made absolutely no sense to you, we'll show you exactly why. To the version of you that lived 300,000 years ago, it made perfect sense.